The gentleman is someone that every man wants to be and every woman wants to be with. Now, typically how this works is after the age of 20 to 25, you put down the childish things. You throw away the graphic tees, you throw away the hat to the backwards, and you get rid of all this stuff, right? In hopes of doing things that will improve your circumstances and improve your life for the better. Maybe you want a family, maybe you have a family, or maybe the man that you look up to is this archetype type of man, and you want to pretty much contribute back to him by following in his footsteps. And this is exactly what the gentleman archetype is. Now, here are some of the archetypes that you guys look up to, or maybe we looked up to as we were kids, right? So we had Idris Elba, we had James Bond, Bruce Wayne, most recently, James St. Patrick. We had Jason Statham. I mean, the list can go on and on of the gentlemen that came before us and that kind of inspired us. But you may ask, what is the gentleman? How is he distinctly different than the player, the Mac, the pimp? What is this guy? How is he different? Well, I'll show you as we go through this PowerPoint presentation, okay? Because the gentleman, he's always prepared. Now, I'm going to read to you a little bit of a definition. If you guys can see what's on the screen, fantastic, shout out to you. But if you can't, leave a comment down below. But the gentleman is always prepared. And the definition of this is the action or process of making ready or being made ready for use or consideration. Now, key aspects of this. Now, for example, if I were to be a basketball player, okay, I'm going to need years of training. I'm going to need to be naturally gifted. I'm going to need to take recovery serious, and I'm going to need a trainer. So these are all the things that I'm going to need in order to be a successful basketball player. Now, what makes you think that being a gentleman is any different? It's not. Correct. It's not any different. A gentleman always has a plan as well. The process of making decisions when needs to be done and how to do it. Now, here are some key aspects of that. Goal setting, defining what you want to achieve. You have to break down and put on paper or on a computer or on your calendar what you want to achieve. You got to set these goals. If I say I want my business to increase by 10% every single year or just this year alone, and I did nothing to plan out how that's going to increase, I had already failed. A gentleman does not move like that. Strategy development, determining the best approach to achieve your goal. So you may call one person up like your mentor or someone who's already successful in your field, and you may ask them, okay, what about this plan? What about that plan? Okay, this is not going to work. You tried this already. Okay, let's go ahead and switch gears. This are some of the key aspects that gentlemen or men who are older have learned throughout the years. And like I said before, you have to have years of training, years of experience to get to this point, which is why you typically see the most attractive men in the world by Forbes magazine or the fashion magazines and stuff like that. It's always an older gentleman. I remember when Idris Elba won it, and he was like 55, 60, you know what I mean? And he's like, you know, women are kind of lusting after him. Women are lusting after Jason Statham. Women are lusting after James Bond. There was a character back in the day from my favorite movie, Zorro. Women were lusting after him. Why? Because he was a typical gentleman. He was older, he was established, he had money, and he had a plan of what he wanted to do. Next one, resource allocation, deciding how and to best utilize available resources. Now, when we look at older gentlemen have always have money. I don't know what it is. Not everybody, but the ones that I look up to always have money. And their ability to pull a hat or a rabbit out of a hat out of thin air never ceases to amaze me, because whenever you think you just have them beat, they always go back into their bag of tricks and goodies and pull something else out. My mentor, if he goes to the blackjack table or if he goes to the casino or something like that, he'll bring a certain amount of money with him so that way he can spend and have a good time. Me? I can't necessarily do that. Why? Because I'm not in the place that he is, right? If he wants the best looking woman, the best car, he's going to make that happen. Why? Because he's already established that he needs a certain amount of income. He needs to have a certain amount of disposable income. While I'm just worried about the emergency fund, stupidly, I know, he's looking at his profit and loss statement like, okay, I earned 25, 35, 45% back in interest, okay? Timeline development, establishing a schedule for completing tasks. Gentlemen always do this and they do it extremely well. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I want to show you guys an example or a video of the perfect gentleman that set me down this path that may be able to set you down your path as well into shifting from this player, pimp, Mac, or whoever into the gentleman. That's exactly what our hope is, and that's exactly what we morph into. So as we continue to analyze this, we're going to get into more and more details of what a gentleman already has set up, including trusts, which goes with contingency planning, including different bank accounts if you want to make sure your sugar baby or your side piece or anything like that is set up for success in the event that you pass away. That is something that's in your contingency planning. Okay, let's look at evaluation. Regularly assessing progress and making adjustments as needed. Okay, so that's everything that a gentleman has already pre-prepared. Okay, now let's go to the next one.
Excuse me. Thank you. Andre, I must pass the shoe. Jean-Jacques, I hope you'll forgive me, but it's most important. Thank you. Have those changed, will you?
Too bad you have to go. Just as things were getting interesting.
Yes. Tell me, Miss Trench, do you play any other games? I mean, besides chemin de fer.
Golf, amongst other things.
Tomorrow afternoon, then.
Tomorrow? See now.
And, we could have dinner afterwards, perhaps?
Sounds tempting. May I, let you know in the morning?
Splendid. My number's on the card.
To you guys, I just got a plethora of goosebumps for no reason at all. I mean, it was just the way he was walking, the way he was talking, how he was operating in his masculine. I mean, I'm at the place right now to where this is not necessarily a reality for me. Just walking to the casino, you know, he just picked up a casual $100,000, let's just say moderately $50,000. Okay, he just picked up $50,000 and then, you know, he's just walking out and makes a date on his way out. It's really not that big of a deal. Obviously, this is a higher end place, but every single move was calculated. Every single word she hinged on, you could tell by her body language. And of course, it's fiction. But still, this is a great example of what kind of inspired a lot of different people to be this gentleman archetype. Okay, now we're going to get into the plot. Okay, let's go to the next one. Shout out to Jason. Intrigue, style, and presence. Intentional style and presence. Dress with care, not to impress, but to express discipline. So this is extremely important as well because your image says everything and it says a lot about you. Everyone who's going to be talking to you or contributing to the conversation, let's just say you have dinner with a potential business partner or a potential investor. How you look when you show up means everything. Okay, make eye contact, firm posture, and moves with purpose. So these are all the traits and these are all the things that I was taught growing up. My dad was military. He was requiring of us to give a firm handshake, to look everybody in the eye, and to have that presence about us. So everyone else, when they look at us, they're not taking us like a joke. They can tell that, hey, listen, this is how we were brought up. This is what I believe in. You're not going to be able to sway me off of my beliefs. Okay. And understands that presence speaks before words do. So like I said, everything that you do counts, from your hand movements to the words that you speak, to the cologne that you wear. Did you get your mani and pedi? Did you go to the salon to get a facial? Do you get massages? All of that is going to be taken into consideration. Maybe not a big deal for a lot of people, but we're talking about investors. We're talking about people who have money. You're going to be older in life, or if you're younger and you still want to take on this archetype, these are the things to look out for. We may not even have a lot of time to be doing this because we're constantly at work, constantly trying to make sure that we're surviving day after day, month after month. But these things, these little things are super, super important. Self-respect and discipline. Keep your word and follow through on your commitments. Now, this is one of the most important pieces that I can point out because there's only two things that men have. You have your balls and you have your word. And if you can't keep your word, then you have no balls and people are not going to want to do business for you. We used to live in a handshake society to where you could just shake somebody's hand and that could be law. Do business deals by shaking people's hand. Not anymore. But if you show some of the older gentlemen who are 60, 70, 80, 90 years old who made majority of their wealth after 50, they're going to look for these things. They're not gone yet. These are Gen X's. These are the boomers. These are the people who control the world. Trump is 79. My mentor is 50. These are the men who have everything at their fingertips. They have the world at their fingertips. They've already worked for 20, 30, 40 plus years. This is what they want. This is what they are looking for, okay? Maintains a clean appearance and takes care of his body, which means working out, eating clean, things like that. Make sure that everything that you do, if you're independent, if you're doing it on your own, that you can do it in front of somebody else. How's your diet like? How much water do you drink? Etc., etc. Okay? Control your emotions instead of letting them control you, which is going to be a huge thing for men because nowadays, with the lack of people who have emotional control, that leads that contributes to loss of fathers in the household. That contributes to men not necessarily taking serious their responsibilities in life. You have men who are out of control. I think 5% of the population is locked up, incarcerated, and it's just a sad thing. But if you can master this, and you're well on your way, okay? Composure and confidence, which is going to be one of the things that I love the most, because speak calmly, clearly, and with purpose. What is your purpose? Do you know everything that you're about to say before you say it? Did you prepare? Are you calm? Okay? Doesn't brag, doesn't shrink either, but does the opposite in these types of moments. Now, these are big moments that for you guys, especially if you're young like me. You meet somebody who's a businessman, who's an investor. These are big moments, but that doesn't mean you have to shrink in these big moments. Like LeBron, right? LeBron necessarily didn't know how to move when he first got into the NBA. However, once he was taught how to move, how to win, he thrived and he got back and he was one. He was competitive and he continued his dominant age for years and years to come. Okay, makes decisions with confidence, not arrogance. See, there's a slight difference between confidence and arrogance, because you can be arrogant, you can have a big ego, that's fine. And I still think that we need a level of that in the world, because we need men to understand their position. We need men to understand how well that they do. And if they don't understand how well they do, then they don't necessarily know the impact that they bring, which can be detrimental at one point in time. So I'm a fan of egos. I'm a fan of confidence, arrogance. I love that. But other people might not love that. But these are some of the traits of the gentleman. Winston Churchill famously said, "Tact is the ability to tell someone to go to hell in such a way they look forward to the trip." And this is huge, because how you talk to people, how you say things to people is everything. So if you can get people to do what you want without them necessarily having an inkling that you had any malice behind those words, people will give you the world. And this is called manipulation. This is called the 48 laws of power. These are things that people talk about in the strategies of war. Deception is a strategy, which is a strategy of war. Okay, now let's get into some of the key characters that I talked about in the beginning of the video as we start wrapping this up, because there are a plethora of key characters, new and old, fictional and non-fictional. Okay, so here are the gentlemen that we love. Right before we get into them, Tom Ford famously said, "Dressing well is a form of good manners." And I agree. I've been dressing well since I was a kid. Nothing has changed now. The only thing that's different is that I have the ability to buy Tom Ford suits, bow ties, and stuff like that if I can afford it. Now, Tom Ford, as you guys see here to the far left, is going to be one of the originators and creators of Tom Ford the cologne, Tom Ford the suits, everything in between. Next, we have James St. Patrick. Now, he came from the streets, but he was, trying to change his life. Fictional character, I know, but still one of the ones that a lot of people, including myself, look up to because of the way he dresses, the way he carries himself, and the way he handles business. And he's not one to rest on his laurels. He's always looking to improve. Same thing with me. Then we have Bruce Wayne. You guys heard of the Bruce Wayne effect? Bruce Wayne effect is huge. Okay, you want people to be mysterious. You want people to ask questions about you. They don't necessarily know what you're doing, especially women. And he brings that element. So shout out to James Bond. In my personal Bruce Wayne, I should say. And my personal favorite is James Bond 007 because James Bond has a very unique way of doing things. He's well liked by everybody. Also, at the same time, he handles his business like Bruce Wayne. No one necessarily knows where he comes from, but he seems to be very good at everything, especially poker and keeping the poker face. So these are the ones that I look up to, especially James Bond, because he's not giving himself away. Poker face is everything. He has tricks up his sleeves. He has a way of doing things that does not come to bite him in the butt. And he's going to continue to do this and be successful at this day after day after day. Well, what did you guys think about the presentation? Did I miss something? Am I off? Did you guys like it? Did you guys love it? Let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.